Let's be honest. Most people today aren't failing because they're lazy. They're failing because their attention is being hijacked. Every minute, every scroll, every notification. Modern life has turned focus into an endangered species. And without focus, even the smartest, most hardworking person becomes stuck. That's why this audiobook begins with a simple but brutal truth. Your life would look completely different if you could give just 1 hour of undivided focus a day. Not hustle culture, not 12-hour grinds, not optimize every second. Just 60 intentional, protected minutes where your mind stops switching and finally lands on something that matters. Americans today are drowning in overstimulation. We check our phones 300 times a day. We start tasks but finish none. We feel busy but produce nothing. We're exhausted not from effort, but from fragmentation. But here's the breakthrough. When you reclaim 1 hour of full presence, your brain responds instantly. Stress drops, clarity rises, your nervous system stops sounding the alarm, your thoughts stop scattering. And progress, the real kind, finally becomes possible. One focused hour isn't small. It's nuclear. It's the difference between drifting through life and directing it. It's the difference between wishing your life would change and building the life you want. And you already have the hour. It's just being spent on things that don't build you. In this audiobook, you'll learn how to use that single hour to break patterns, sharpen your mind, finish what you start, rebuild discipline, and design a future you're actually proud of. If you feel overwhelmed, distracted, inconsistent, or stuck, this isn't a flaw. It's a system problem. And 1 protected hour a day is how you take your power back. This is the hour that changes everything. If you're ready to rise above the noise, like the video, it tells YouTube you're choosing awareness over autopilot. Subscribe now and don't miss the next chapter in your evolution. And remember, the deepest transformation belongs to those who stay until the very end. Chapter 1. 1 hour to face what you keep avoiding. There is something in your life right now that you have been avoiding. You know exactly what it is. The task, the conversation, the decision, the project, the change. It sits quietly in the back of your mind, like a weight you carry, even when you pretend not to notice it. You think about it when you wake up. You think about it before you sleep. And every day you find a new reason to postpone it. Avoidance is not just procrastination. It is an invisible contract you make with fear. Every time you run from that thing, you reinforce the idea that it is stronger than you. You teach your mind that discomfort is a wall you cannot walk through. And that teaching becomes your identity. But here is the truth. The thing you are avoiding is not the enemy. The avoidance is. Avoidance creates pressure. It builds a mental cloud that follows you into every task, stealing your clarity. It drains energy even when you are not thinking about it. Your mind keeps it open like an unfinished loop, demanding attention, creating stress, and blocking progress. That is why 1 hour, just one, is enough to break the entire cycle. When you sit down and give 1 uninterrupted hour to the thing you have been avoiding, something powerful happens. First, the weight begins to lift. Action releases the tension that inaction creates. The moment you bring the task into the light, the fear loses its shape. What once felt overwhelming begins to shrink because it is finally being met, not imagined. Second, you start dismantling the psychological wall that avoidance built. That wall was never made of the task itself. It was made of emotion, fear, uncertainty, perfectionism, doubt. The moment you begin working, You stop feeding those emotions. You stop letting them decide who you are. Most people believe they need to feel ready before they start. But readiness is a trap. You do not feel ready first. You start first. Then readiness arrives. Action creates the emotional state, not the other way around. From a scientific perspective, avoidance activates the brain's threat circuits. The longer you delay, the more your mind exaggerates the difficulty. But the moment you engage, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for focus, logic, and problem-solving, takes control. Your emotional brain steps aside. Your anxiety drops. Your clarity increases. You begin to see the task for what it actually is, not what your fears made it appear to be. From a spiritual perspective, avoidance is energetic stagnation. It traps your life force, your momentum, your potential. When you finally face the thing you've been avoiding, you unfreeze that energy. You release the blocked flow. That is why you feel lighter after confronting something difficult. Not because the task changed, but because your energy is moving again. From a cosmic perspective, intention is frequency. Avoidance scatters your frequency. Action sharpens it. Giving 1 full hour to the thing you resist sends a signal to your entire system. I am no longer living in hesitation. I am moving forward. And life responds to motion. Opportunities appear once you start acting, not before. If what you've been avoiding feels too big, remember, this hour is not about finishing everything. It is about breaking the seal. It is about turning the key in a door that has been locked for far too long. You do not have to walk through it yet. You only need to open it. Once a door is open, your future has access to you again. When you sit down for this hour, protect it fiercely. No phone, no wandering, no, just checking something. You are not multitasking. You are single-tasking with intention. The first 10 minutes will be the hardest, because resistance always shows up strongest right before you break it. Push through those 10 minutes. After that, momentum takes over. You will begin to feel pulled forward instead of pushed. Here is what most people never understand. 1 hour of focused engagement with something you fear is more transformative than 10 hours of scattered avoidance with things that feel comfortable. Comfort maintains your life. Confrontation reshapes it. Think about the version of you who gives 1 hour a day for 30 days to the thing you've been avoiding. That is 30 hours of liberation, 30 hours of progress, 30 hours of identity shift, 30 hours where you tell yourself, I act, I face, I do not run. That version of you carries a different energy. They walk differently. They decide differently. They trust themselves differently. Avoidance weakens self-trust. Action strengthens it. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. You do not need the perfect mood. You do not need motivation. You do not need clarity. You need an hour. Begin before you feel ready. The feeling will catch up. The thing you fear is never as heavy as the fear itself. 1 hour of facing it proves that. Start today. Sit down, breathe, begin. The rest of your life will adjust around this decision. Chapter 2. 1 hour of full presence. Most people move through their days only half alive. Their bodies are here, but their minds are scattered across 1,000 invisible threads. Yesterday's mistake, tomorrow's pressure, a notification, a memory, a worry, a fantasy, a doubt. They drift through conversations without listening, drift through work without depth, drift through life without ever fully arriving in the moment they are actually living. Presence has become rare, and because presence is rare, so is clarity, creativity, connection, and peace. But 1 hour, just 1 hour, of true presence has the power to rewire the way you think, perform, and experience life. When you give something or someone a full hour of undivided attention, you are doing more than concentrating. You are bringing your entire being into alignment. You are reclaiming your awareness from the noise that tries to steal it. Presence is where life actually happens. Every moment outside of it is only a shadow, an echo of thought, not the experience itself. When you sit for your hour of presence, you are training your mind to stay here, not wander endlessly. This is not easy. The moment you begin, your mind will try to escape. Check your phone. Think about something else. Replay an argument. Plan dinner. Drift into imagination. Follow a random mental thread that appears from nowhere. That pull is not a flaw. It is simply what an untrained mind does. Each time you notice your attention drifting and you bring it back, you are strengthening an ability most people never develop, the ability to inhabit the now. Presence is not measured by never drifting. It is measured by how quickly you return. Your hour of presence can be spent in many ways: reading deeply, studying, creating, practicing a skill, planning with intention, or even having a real conversation where you are fully listening instead of waiting to speak. The task matters less than the quality of attention you give to it. To build presence, you must first create an environment that doesn't sabotage you. Turn off notifications. Put your phone far away. Close the door. Remove unnecessary noise. Create space. Create stillness. Presence cannot compete with open loops and constant interruptions. You must decide that for 60 minutes, nothing else exists. This hour is your anchor, your chance to train the muscle of awareness. When you begin, set a clear intention. For this hour, I am here. All of me. Then observe what happens. Your senses sharpen. You notice details you usually overlook. You hear more. You see more. You think with more precision. Your work becomes deeper. You start absorbing information faster. Presence increases the quality of your perception, and the quality of your perception increases the quality of your life. From a scientific perspective, the brain's default mode network, the part responsible for mind wandering, stays active in the background of most people's lives. But when you train presence, the task-focused network becomes dominant. You shift from scattered consciousness to coherent attention. This reduces stress, improves memory, and enhances creativity. From a spiritual perspective, presence is the doorway to inner stillness. Distraction fragments your energy. Presence gathers it. When you are fully here, your internal field becomes stable. You stop leaking energy into worry or regret. You stop living in imaginary realities and begin living in the only one that exists, the present moment. From a cosmic perspective, presence is alignment. The more present you are, the more aligned you become with what you are doing, and the more power you bring into it. Action done with full presence creates stronger results because the energy behind it is concentrated, not diluted. The first time you attempt a full hour of presence, you may be shocked by how restless your mind is. You may feel bored, impatient, irritated. That is normal. You are detoxing from overstimulation. You are teaching your mind to stop searching for novelty and to settle into depth. Stay, even when you want to escape, especially then. If you remain long enough, something shifts. Your thoughts quiet, your breathing steadies, your body relaxes. The moment that shift occurs, your attention deepens naturally. You enter a state where work feels lighter, ideas come faster, and you feel connected to what you're doing. This is the state every great thinker, creator, artist, and leader seeks. Some call it flow. Some call it alignment. But the truth is simple. It is presence. If you choose to spend your hour with another person, truly listening, truly engaging, you will see something rare. People open to presence because they can feel when someone is genuinely with them. Relationships deepen. Misunderstandings resolve. Connection strengthens. Attention is one of the purest forms of love. Presence also reduces stress. Stress is often the mind living everywhere, except here. The past creates regret. The future creates anxiety. Presence dissolves both. When you are anchored in the now, your thoughts stop feeding the fear circuits. Your nervous system calms. Your inner world softens. Over time, daily presence training begins to bleed into the rest of your life. You stop reaching for your phone without thinking. You stop half listening in conversations. You stop multitasking through your day. You begin tasting your food more. You begin hearing the silence between sounds. You begin living your life instead of thinking about it. Track your progress. At the end of each hour, note how often your mind drifted and how fast you returned. You will see improvement. Drift less. Return faster. Think clearer. Show up deeper. Presence is not something you learn once. It is a lifelong discipline. But 1 hour a day is enough to reshape your mind, enough to retrain your attention, enough to reclaim your time, your power, your awareness, your life. Because when you learn to be fully here for even an hour, you begin to carry that presence everywhere you go. And a present mind is a powerful mind. Chapter 3. 1 hour to finish what you keep postponing. There are things in your life right now that have been left unfinished for far too long. You know exactly what they are. The email you haven't sent, the project you paused halfway, the document waiting on your desk, the call you've been meaning to make, the task you keep pushing to tomorrow. It doesn't matter how small or simple they seem. Unfinished things take up real space inside your mind. Every time you remember them, you feel a subtle pressure in your chest, a quiet weight, a whisper that says, you still haven't done it. You tell yourself you'll get to it soon, but soon never seems to arrive. And so the list grows, and the weight grows with it. Postponed tasks don't just sit on your schedule. They sit on your energy, your confidence, your mental clarity. They accumulate like mental clutter, draining you even when you're not consciously thinking about them. They pull on your attention like invisible threads. They weaken your sense of control. Avoided tasks become emotional anchors. And unless you cut those anchors, they will continue to slow down everything you try to do. But here is the shift. 1 hour, one single hour, of deliberate focus can break the entire pattern. 1 hour can take a postponed task from a source of guilt to a source of freedom. When you commit to finishing something you've been postponing, you immediately reclaim power. Finishing is more than completing a task. It is closing a loop in your mind. It is lifting a weight off your nervous system. It is removing a piece of noise from your inner world. Finishing feels clean. Finishing feels freeing. Finishing feels like stepping out of a room you've been stuck in for years. To make this work, you must be clear before the hour begins. Don't say, I'll work on it. That is not enough. You must define finishing. What does done actually mean for this task? The clearer the target, the faster your mind organizes around it. This hour is not about perfection. It is about completion. Perfection is another form of postponing. You tell yourself you are waiting for the perfect time, the perfect mood, the perfect clarity. But perfection is a trap. You don't need perfect. You need done. Done creates momentum. Done creates space. Done creates identity. One of the greatest lies your mind tells you is that the task will take longer than it actually will. Many of the things you've been postponing for weeks would take less than an hour to complete. Some would take less than 15 minutes. But avoidance magnifies things. Your mind makes them look bigger because they have been sitting in the dark. The moment you begin, the illusion breaks. You realize it was never the task, only the energy around it. From a scientific perspective, unfinished tasks activate the Zeigarnik effect. The brain holds on to incomplete work, keeping it active in the background. This consumes cognitive bandwidth, lowers emotional regulation, and increases stress. From a spiritual perspective, unfinished tasks are unresolved energy. They create energetic loops that cannot close until you act. Every unfinished task keeps a part of your awareness stuck in the past. Completion frees that awareness. It allows your energy to move forward. From a cosmic perspective, completion creates coherence. Unfinished actions distort your field. Finished actions align it. That alignment becomes momentum. During your hour, you will notice something interesting. Your mind will try to distract you more aggressively than usual. It will offer excuses, temptations, urgent things that suddenly appear. This is resistance, your mind trying to maintain the old pattern. Ignore it. Stay with the task. Do not drift. This hour is a closed container, a protected space. Completion requires the same thing. Presence requires your whole mind in one place. When you finish the task, your entire system feels it. Your shoulders drop. Your breathing deepens. Your thoughts quiet. You feel lighter. You feel clearer. You feel more in control. That feeling is not random. It is the emotional reward your brain gives you for closing a loop. And that reward becomes motivation. After finishing one thing you've postponed, you may suddenly want to finish another. That momentum is gold. Use it. If you make this a daily habit, 1 hour each day spent finishing something unfinished, you will experience a profound shift. The backlog in your life will begin to disappear. The mental clutter will dissolve. Your environment will feel cleaner. Your mind will feel lighter. Your decisions will feel sharper. And more importantly, you will begin to trust yourself again. Because every unfinished task is a broken promise. And every finished task, no matter how small, is a promise kept. Self-trust grows from the inside out. Finishing is not only about productivity, it is about identity. Each time you finish something you've delayed, you prove to yourself, I follow through. I keep my word. I complete things. I am reliable to myself. That identity will take you farther than talent, intelligence, or motivation ever could. Do not wait for the perfect mood. Do not wait for inspiration. Do not wait for later. This hour is enough. Sit down. Choose one thing. Finish it. And when the hour ends, notice the difference in your mind. Notice how much quieter the world feels. Notice how much stronger you feel. Completion creates space. Space creates clarity. Clarity creates momentum. Start today. Finish one thing you've been postponing. Then feel what it's like to be free of it. Chapter 4. 1 hour as if your future depends on it. Most people treat 1 hour of their day like it doesn't matter. They move through time casually, assuming there will always be more of it. But what if there wasn't? What if there was 1 hour, just one, that could shift the entire direction of your life? 1 hour that could determine whether you move forward or stay exactly where you are. 1 hour that could change your trajectory entirely. If you worked for 1 hour each day with the seriousness of someone whose future depends on it, your entire life would begin to rise. Most people never experience their true potential, not because they lack talent, but because they rarely bring their full intensity to anything. They spread their energy thin. They work with half focus. They drift through tasks without urgency. They never push themselves to the edge of their ability. They never see what their mind can do when it is fully awake. But when you decide that, for this 1 hour, you will operate at your highest level, something inside you turns on. You become sharper, faster, more deliberate, more creative. Your decisions improve. Your execution improves. You step into a different version of yourself. Urgency is not panic. Urgency is clarity. When you work as if your future depends on what you do in the next 60 minutes, you stop wasting time. You stop negotiating with distractions. You stop checking your phone out of habit. You stop allowing your energy to scatter. You show up fully. Imagine that this hour is an audition for the life you want. Imagine that this hour is the moment the door either opens or stays closed. Imagine that everything you want, your goals, your opportunities, your breakthrough, is watching how you spend this one block of time. What standard would you bring to your work then? Most people never ask themselves this question. They never realize that extraordinary results don't always come from extraordinary hours. They come from ordinary hours, performed with extraordinary intensity. An hour of deep, high-level effort is worth more than an entire day of unfocused work. You can waste 8 casual hours and produce nothing meaningful. Or you can give 1 serious hour and move further in 60 minutes than most people do in an entire afternoon. This is the difference between effort and impact. This mindset forces you to eliminate everything that does not matter. You stop doing busy work. You stop filling time. You stop drifting. You choose the one thing that will most effectively shape your future, and you attack it. Before the hour begins, you prepare. You clear the room of distractions. You silence notifications. You set your intention like a blade. You know exactly what you're going to work on, and you eliminate anything that can pull you away. Because once the hour begins, you are not available to anything else. This is not just discipline. This is devotion. When you work with this intensity, you activate parts of your brain that casual effort never touches. Your attention sharpens, your reasoning strengthens, your creativity expands, your ability to solve problems increases, even your physiology responds. Your breathing deepens, your posture straightens, your nervous system aligns with your intention. The hour becomes a ritual of power. From a scientific perspective, this level of concentrated effort activates the prefrontal cortex at maximum engagement. It increases neural firing, strengthens synaptic connections, and triggers neurochemical states that enhance learning and performance. From a spiritual perspective, committing to 1 hour of full intention is an act of alignment. Purpose gathers your energy. Focus sharpens your vibration. You shift from passive existence to active creation. The universe responds to clear intention, and nothing is clearer than a mind that says, "This matters. I am here. I am ready." From an energetic perspective, intensity is coherence. It gathers your scattered forces into one direction. A coherent field is powerful. A scattered field is weak. For 1 hour, you become coherent. The more you work this way, the more you start to trust yourself under pressure. You learn that you can rely on yourself to perform when it counts. You build confidence, not the shallow confidence that comes from feeling good, but the deep confidence that comes from repeatedly showing up with everything you have. Most regret in life comes from hours we didn't take seriously, moments we wasted, effort we withheld, opportunities we treated casually. People don't regret the hours they gave everything. They regret the hours they didn't. When you live 1 hour a day with absolute seriousness, your results will begin to separate you from the average. Over a year, that is 365 hours, more than 9 full work weeks of your highest quality output. That alone can change your income, your skill level, your relationships, your health, your reputation, your identity. This is how breakthroughs happen, not through luck, but through concentrated effort repeated consistently. At the end of each hour, take a moment to reflect, not just on what you accomplished, but on who you were while accomplishing it. Notice the standard you upheld. Notice the version of yourself you brought to the table. That version of you is who you are becoming. If you can bring this level of commitment to 1 hour a day, you will not only build a different future, you will become a different person. A person who does not drift, a person who does not wait, a person who does not waste time, a person who acts. Your future does depend on it, and it begins with 1 hour. Chapter 5. 1 hour only on what truly moves you ahead. Every day, you face a choice. Will you spend your time on what is urgent or on what is important? Most people, without realizing it, choose urgency. They answer messages, solve small problems, check notifications, handle interruptions, and spend their hours reacting instead of creating. They stay busy, but they do not move forward. Urgency consumes your day. Importance transforms your life. The truth is simple. Not everything deserves your attention. Not everything contributes to your growth. Not everything builds your future. Yet most people spend the majority of their time on tasks that leave no trace the next day. That is why this chapter exists. To teach you the discipline of giving 1 sacred hour exclusively to the work that truly moves you ahead. The work that shapes your trajectory, builds your skills, expands your opportunities, and advances your goals. 1 hour, 0 distractions, only what matters. Progress is not created by doing more things. It's created by doing the right things repeatedly. You could spend 10 hours answering emails, organizing files, attending meaningless meetings, or scrolling through tasks that feel productive but change nothing. And at the end of the day, you would be exhausted but unmoved. Or you could devote 60 minutes to the single action that accelerates your evolution more than anything else. That hour has the power to outperform the rest of your day combined. Because time does not create results. Focus does. To use this hour effectively, you must first know what actually moves you forward. Most people don't. They confuse activity with progress. They fill their schedule with tasks that make them feel accomplished, but don't bring them closer to their goals. To break that cycle, ask yourself 1 question every day. If I could only accomplish 1 thing today that would make tomorrow meaningfully better, what would it be? That answer is your hour. It might be writing the proposal that could change your business. It might be practicing a skill that increases your earning power. It might be studying something that expands your mind. It might be creating, building, strategizing, planning, or executing something that lifts your life to the next level. Whatever it is, it cannot be shallow. It cannot be easy. It cannot be passive. Your hour must be invested in the highest impact work available to you. When the hour begins, protect it ruthlessly. This is not the time to multitask. Multitasking is a myth. Your brain cannot split focus without losing depth. Multitasking is scattered energy. and scattered energy produces scattered results. This hour requires absolute single tasking. One thing, one direction, one intention. Every notification, message, or thought that tries to pull you away must wait. Nothing else exists. Nothing else matters. You have 1 hour, and you will use it to build the foundation of your future. Here's what most people never understand. High-impact tasks usually feel uncomfortable. They require thinking. They require risk. They require effort. That's why many avoid them, and why these tasks hold the greatest power. Easy tasks maintain you. Hard tasks advance you. If you spend your hour each day on the discomfort that leads to expansion, your life will begin to move in ways it never has before. This hour trains your mind to look at your life strategically rather than reactively. You stop chasing minor wins and start pursuing meaningful ones. You stop drifting and begin directing. You start measuring your day, not by how much you did, but by how far you moved. From a scientific perspective, intense focus on one high-value task increases dopamine regulation, strengthens executive function, and deepens neural pathways associated with learning and problem-solving. You become sharper and more capable over time. From a spiritual perspective, giving your highest energy to what truly matters aligns your internal frequency with your future. Alignment creates attraction. When your energy is directed toward meaningful action, life begins to meet you halfway. From a cosmic perspective, choosing the right hour broadcasts intention into your field. Intention is creative power. When you consistently commit to your highest purpose each day, you create a gravitational pull around your goals. At the end of your hour, you will feel something different, not just accomplishment, but elevation. Progress that is visible, growth that is tangible, momentum that you can feel in your bones. This feeling is sacred. It is the proof that you invested your time where it counts. Over weeks and months, the impact becomes undeniable. Your skills sharpen. Your opportunities increase. Your discipline strengthens. Your life expands. This hour becomes the quiet engine behind everything you build. There will be days when your schedule tries to push this hour out. Days when chaos demands your attention. Days when everything seems urgent. But urgency is the enemy of progress. And if you give up this hour, you give up your future. Protect it as if it is non-negotiable, because it is. Schedule it early, if possible, before interruptions gather strength. Treat it like an unbreakable meeting with your highest self. Define the outcome before the hour begins. Focus only on the action that creates real movement. And when the hour ends, stop. Record what you achieved. Feel the momentum you created. Carry that clarity into the next day. If you repeat this practice every day, even for just 1 hour, the compound effect is extraordinary. A month from now, you'll notice the shift. 6 months from now, the gap between who you were and who you're becoming will be obvious. A year from now, you will not recognize your old life, because progress is not made by doing everything. Progress is made by doing what matters, again and again, until the results become impossible to ignore. 1 hour is enough. Use it wisely. Your future is built in this hour. Chapter 6. 1 hour. Pushing past the moment you want to quit. There is a moment in every task, every workout, every project, every session of disciplined work, where something inside you whispers, "Stop." It happens without fail. At first, you begin with energy, motivation, even excitement. But then, somewhere in the middle, your mind hits resistance. Your focus dips, your body tightens, your thoughts pull you toward escape. You suddenly feel tired, bored, overwhelmed, or irritated. You look for reasons to walk away. Most people obey that moment. They quit not because they have reached their limit, but because they have reached their discomfort, and so they never see what exists beyond it. But if you give yourself 1 hour dedicated to pushing past the exact moment you feel like quitting, you unlock a level of strength, clarity, and growth that most people will never experience. That hour becomes a breakthrough point, a crossing, a shift in who you believe yourself to be. Your mind's first instinct is always self-protection. When something feels difficult, your nervous system interprets it as a threat and tells you to stop. Not because you are incapable, but because you are entering unfamiliar territory. Discomfort is not danger. It is transformation in progress. The moment you want to quit is the moment your brain is negotiating with your potential. It is the moment where your old patterns try to defend themselves. It is the moment where the version of you that has stayed the same tries to preserve its place. But growth lives on the other side of that moment. From a scientific perspective, the quitting point is when your brain shifts from automated effort to conscious effort. Your dopamine drops, resistance rises, and your mental circuits seek the easiest escape. But if you stay in the task long enough, the brain adapts. Dopamine stabilizes, focus returns. The second wind arrives. From a spiritual perspective, the quitting point is the threshold between your current identity and your next one. Energy expands when it is challenged. When you push past the moment you want to quit, you are breaking energetic patterns that have held you in place. From a cosmic perspective, quitting is the collapse of intention. Continuing is the amplification of it. Every time you stay, the universe meets you with new strength. This hour is not about recklessness. It is about resilience. It is about proving to yourself, through action, that your feelings do not dictate your destiny. The first step is awareness. You must learn to recognize the exact moment quitting arises. It often begins subtly. A wandering thought, a tiny dip in enthusiasm, a sudden desire to check your phone, an urge to take a quick break. These are not harmless impulses. They are the mind beginning its retreat. When you catch that moment, you do not obey it. You acknowledge it. And then you stay. Staying is the discipline. Staying is the training. Staying is the transformation. Expect resistance. The hour will not feel smooth. Your mind will argue with you. It will offer excuses, distractions, reasons that sound logical, but are simply escape routes in disguise. Stay anyway. As you continue past the quitting point, your system begins to adjust. Your mind settles. Your focus sharpens. Your thoughts become clearer. What once felt impossible begins to feel doable. What once felt heavy becomes lighter. What once felt like a wall becomes a doorway. This is the second wind, your reward for staying in the discomfort long enough to reach it. Most people never experience it because they quit before it arrives. This practice builds a type of strength that cannot be taught through comfort. A strength learned only in the moments you don't want to continue, but continue anyway. Strength built through endurance, through grit, through choosing growth over ease. Your ability to stay beyond the quitting point affects every part of your life. It shows up in your relationships, when you stay present in a difficult conversation. It shows up in your work, when you keep going, even when the task requires more than you expected. It shows up in your goals, when you refuse to stop, even though progress feels slow. It shows up in your character, when you become someone who does not collapse under discomfort. People who achieve meaningful things are not the ones who never encounter resistance. They are the ones who move through it. Your environment matters. Eliminate escape routes. Turn off your phone. Close other tabs. Remove anything you could use as a justification for stopping. Make quitting inconvenient. You must create conditions where staying becomes the default. The first time you do this, it will be hard. Your mind will fight. Your emotions will push back. Your energy will fluctuate. But every time you push past that moment, you build a deeper level of resilience. You begin to realize something powerful. Wanting to quit is just a feeling, not a command. And feelings pass. As the hour ends, reflect on what you just did. You stayed. You didn't fold. You didn't run. You didn't collapse into comfort. You pushed the boundary of who you believed you were. And that changes you. Over time, this practice turns you into someone dangerous. Dangerous to excuses, to weakness, to limitations. Someone who can be trusted with discipline. Someone who can be trusted with goals. Someone who will not stop when it gets hard. That is the kind of person who reaches heights others only talk about. So the next time you hit that wall inside your mind, the dip, the hesitation, the discomfort, recognize it. Breathe. Then push one more hour past it. Not to punish yourself, not to prove anything to others, but to prove to yourself that you are stronger than your first impulse to quit. That hour will rewrite you. Chapter 7. 1 hour to fix one weakness. Every person carries weaknesses, patterns, habits, fears, blind spots, or missing skills that quietly limit their progress. These weaknesses are not mysteries. You feel them every time you hesitate, every time you fail to follow through, every time you repeat a mistake you promised yourself you'd never make again. They show up in moments where you know you could do better, but don't. Moments where potential outpaces preparation. Most people learn to work around their weaknesses instead of through them. They avoid the tasks that expose the flaw. They structure their days to minimize discomfort. They choose environments where their limitations remain invisible. They cling to strengths because strengths feel safe. But weaknesses do not disappear because you ignore them. They grow. They follow you. They become the quiet ceiling of your life. That is why choosing 1 hour to face and improve a weakness is one of the most transformative decisions you can make. Not because the weakness will be solved instantly, but because the moment you stop hiding from it, it loses power over you. Weakness plus avoidance. Stagnation. Weakness. Plum. Deliberate practice. Evolution. The first step is honesty. Radical honesty. You cannot transform what you refuse to acknowledge. You must name the weakness clearly, without judgment or ego. This is not an act of self-criticism. It is an act of self-awareness. Your weakness might be a skill you never developed. It might be poor time management. It might be procrastination. It might be fear of speaking. It might be emotional impulsiveness. It might be disorganization. It might be inconsistency. It might be the inability to finish what you start. Whatever it is, bring it into the light. Hidden weaknesses cannot be strengthened. Seen weaknesses can be transformed. Once you identify it, break it down into actions you can take in one focused hour. If your weakness is communication, then your hour might be practicing speaking aloud, recording yourself, studying articulation or clarity. If your weakness is discipline, your hour might be spent executing a task immediately without negotiation. If your weakness is emotional reactivity, your hour might be devoted to breath control, reflection, or reframing your triggers. If your weakness is lack of skill, your hour is invested in deliberate, targeted practice. Weaknesses feel overwhelming when viewed as lifelong problems. But 1 hour is manageable. 1 hour is accessible. 1 hour is enough to begin. From a scientific perspective, neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, is activated when you deliberately engage with what challenges you. The discomfort you feel is evidence that new pathways are forming. From a spiritual perspective, weaknesses are not flaws. They are invitations. They are places where your energy is misaligned, waiting to be shaped. When you commit to improving a weakness, you are reclaiming lost power. From a cosmic perspective, every area you strengthen increases your overall frequency. You become more coherent, more capable, more aligned with the life you want. Your hour must be distraction-free. Weakness cannot be improved with half effort. You must bring your full attention to it, your full presence, your full intention. Because facing a weakness is an act of self-respect, and expect resistance. Weaknesses fight back. Your mind will feel restless. You might feel embarrassed or frustrated. You might feel slow or clumsy. You might feel exposed. Good. That means you are in the right place. Discomfort is the proof of transformation. Track your progress. Keep notes. Record what you practiced, what you learned, what improved. Weaknesses do not transform through inspiration. They transform through repetition. Each hour compounds. Each hour expands your capacity. Each hour breaks an old pattern and reinforces a new one. And over time, something incredible happens. What once felt like a deficiency becomes an area of confidence. What once intimidated you becomes something you can rely on. What once held you back becomes something that moves you forward. Many people will tell you to only play to your strengths, but strengths alone cannot carry a life. A small weakness in the wrong place can undermine everything you build. A single limitation can close doors that your strengths could have opened. Fixing one weakness can create a ripple of improvement across your entire life. Better communication improves relationships. Better discipline improves everything. Better emotional control improves decision-making. Better skills improve opportunity. Better organization improves clarity. Better follow-through improves self-trust. This is not just about skill building. This is identity building. Each hour you spend on a weakness sends a powerful message to yourself. I am willing to evolve. I am willing to grow. I am willing to become the person my future requires. Eventually, the weakness you work on now can become one of your strengths. Not because it was easy, but because you trained it with intention. And when you reach that point, you will have a deeper kind of confidence. The kind that comes from knowing you can transform any part of yourself you choose. Choose one weakness today. Spend 1 hour on it. Face it directly. Work through the discomfort. Let the hour reshape you, because the weakness you avoid holds you back, but the weakness you train becomes your power. Chapter 8. 1 hour working without letting your mind escape once. Sit down to work and watch what happens. Within minutes, your mind tries to run. It jumps to a memory, wanders into the future, imagines scenarios, replays old conversations, checks for notifications, drifts into random thoughts, or reaches for something, anything, to avoid stillness. Most people spend their entire lives in this loop. Their bodies stay at the desk, but their minds roam freely. They confuse time spent with work done. They confuse motion with progress. This is why 1 hour of true, uninterrupted mental presence is more powerful than 5 hours of scattered effort. When you commit to 60 minutes, where your mind does not escape even once, you enter a level of depth and clarity that most people never experience. Not because they lack ability, but because they have never trained attention. Attention is the gateway to mastery. Without it, you cannot learn deeply. Without it, you cannot create meaningfully. Without it, you cannot produce extraordinary work. In this chapter, you train the rarest skill of all, the ability to keep your mind exactly where you decide it should be. This hour is not simply about sitting still. It's about becoming the master of your mental state. The moment you begin, your mind will resist. It has spent years being allowed to wander. It will pull you toward distraction. It will whisper suggestions. It will drift toward easier thoughts. That is normal. Your mind is not the enemy. It is simply untrained. Your job is to bring it back, over and over, with calm firmness, without judgment. Every return is a repetition. Every repetition strengthens focus. Like training a muscle, the first attempts feel weak, shaky, inconsistent. But with consistency, your ability to hold awareness grows exponentially. To work this way, you must close every escape route before beginning. Your phone must be in another room, your notifications silenced, your workspace cleared, your environment still, your intentions set. Your mind escapes most easily when exits are open. Remove them. Before you begin, choose one task, a precise goal, a single target. Vague goals invite wandering. Specific goals anchor the mind. When the hour starts, your commitment is simple. Stay mentally inside the task. No drifting, no fantasizing, no remembering, no scanning, no splitting. The moment you notice the mind leaving, even if it is only by 1 inch, you gently pull it back. Do this without frustration, without drama, without thinking you failed. You did not fail. You caught yourself. That awareness is the training. From a scientific perspective, this practice strengthens your prefrontal cortex, the center of focus, decision-making, and self-control. It quiets the default mode network, the part of the brain responsible for daydreaming, wandering, and autopilot thinking. From a spiritual perspective, anchoring your mind in one place is an act of inner stillness. It gathers your scattered energy. It prevents your life force from leaking into thoughts that don't serve you. Presence is the foundation of inner power. From a cosmic perspective, sustained focus is coherence. Coherence brings your intention, energy, and action into alignment. Alignment amplifies creation. At first, the hour may feel long. You may feel restless, irritated, bored, confronted by your own thoughts. This discomfort is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are entering a deeper level of awareness. The noise rises when you first become silent enough to hear it. Stay. Stay through the restlessness. Stay through the impulse to escape. Stay through the mental static. If you stay long enough, something extraordinary happens. Your mind settles. The noise recedes. Your awareness deepens. Your task becomes immersive, almost effortless. You enter the zone, the state where high-level work is produced, where ideas come naturally, where your mind and the moment merge. This is not an accident. This is the reward for not escaping. This state is not mystical. It is trained. It is accessible to anyone disciplined enough to remain present. Working with this depth has immediate benefits. You accomplish more in 1 hour than you usually do in 3. Your accuracy increases. Your creativity expands. Your decisions become clearer. Your work carries more weight and meaning. It also changes how you experience time. In scattered work, time drags because you are constantly switching. In deep work, time disappears because you are fully immersed. That immersion is where mastery lives. But this practice does more than improve your productivity. It improves your life. When you train yourself to notice your attention drifting during work, you begin noticing it everywhere. In conversations, you return to listening. During meals, you become more mindful. During stress, you stay anchored. During decisions, you stay clear. During conflict, you remain present instead of reactive. The habit of returning becomes a way of living. Presence becomes your default. Your mind becomes quieter. Your emotions become steadier. Your awareness becomes sharper. Most people never realize how much they lose by letting their minds escape. They lose hours. They lose clarity. They lose opportunities. They lose themselves. 1 hour of true mental presence each day reverses this entirely. When the hour ends, reflect on your practice. How often did you drift? How quickly did you return? What changed in your depth? What changed in your consciousness? This reflection is not judgment, it is calibration. Over time, you will drift less, return faster, focus deeper, work better, live more consciously. This is the skill behind every great achievement, the architect behind every creative breakthrough, the engine behind every extraordinary life. Because when you own your attention, you own your reality. And when you own your reality, you own your future. 1 hour. No escapes. Just presence. Chapter 9. Give 1 hour. Daily to building results you can feel. Most people pass through their days busy but unchanged. They respond to messages, complete microtasks, move from one small demand to another. Yet at night, when they look back, there is nothing meaningful they can feel from their work. No visible progress, no shift, no proof. An entire day of motion, and yet no movement. This is the trap of shallow effort. It consumes your energy, but does not transform your life. To break this cycle, you must dedicate 1 powerful, focused hour each day to building results that leave a mark, results that change how you see yourself tomorrow. Real results are not abstract. They are measurable. They are visible. They are felt. You can see them in the chapter you finished. You can feel them in your body after training. You can measure them in the skills you've sharpened. You can experience them in the confidence gained from completion. They are evidence that today mattered. Evidence is important. Evidence is what turns belief into certainty. Certainty is what destroys doubt. And without doubt, your progress accelerates. Before this hour begins, you must choose a target. Not a vague intention like, work on my project or train harder, but a specific concrete outcome. Finish 1 section, learn 1 technique, solve 1 problem, build 1 asset, make 1 undeniable step forward. Clarity sharpens focus. Focus accelerates progress. Progress builds identity. When you start the hour, you are not simply working, you are building. This means no passive effort, no partial attention, no low-intensity motion. You work with enough force, enough intention, enough depth that something changes by the time the hour ends. This is where science and spiritual discipline meet. From a scientific perspective, intense focus for short periods creates neuroplastic change. The brain rewires fastest during deep, effortful practice. You literally reshape your capabilities with each difficult minute. From a spiritual perspective, you compress your energy into one direction. Focused energy becomes momentum. Momentum becomes manifestation. From a cosmic perspective, creation requires coherence. When your intention, attention, and action align for 1 hour, you send a consistent frequency into the field around you, making the outcome more likely to materialize. This is why an hour of deep creation produces more progress than days of scattered activity. It is energy without leakage. During this hour, You must guard your attention fiercely. Every distraction steals momentum. Every interruption resets your depth. Every attention shift weakens the result. If you cannot point to the outcome after the hour ends, then the hour was not used at its highest potential. This is not about perfection. It is about tangibility. It is about impact. Track your progress. Write down what you accomplished. Record what changed. Show yourself the evidence. Humans are wired to respond to tangible proof. When you see progress building day after day, a powerful psychological shift occurs. You begin to expect progress. You begin to demand progress from yourself. You begin to operate at a higher standard because your results prove you can. Over time, this becomes identity-level change. You stop identifying as someone who tries. You become someone who builds, and builders move differently. They choose differently. They think differently. They refuse to waste time on actions that don't move them forward. This hour also reveals how many tasks only feel productive, but produce nothing. Shallow work creates the illusion of effort without the reality of progress. Once you experience what true progress feels like, you become allergic to work that leads nowhere. Your standards rise. Your tolerance for busy work drops. Your sense of direction sharpens. This habit compounds. 1 hour becomes 7 hours a week. 7 becomes 30 hours a month. 30 becomes over 350 hours a year. 350 hours of focused, result-building effort is enough to transform your body, build a business, master a new skill, write a book, change your income, rebuild your identity, reshape your future. This is not a theory. This is mathematics. Discipline. It's energy alignment. And tomorrow will feel different, because today left something real behind. Progress you can feel is momentum you cannot ignore. That momentum becomes clarity. That clarity becomes confidence. That confidence becomes consistency. And consistency becomes transformation. So today, choose your result. Protect your hour. Work with intensity. Build something that will still be here tomorrow. Because when you chain enough of these days together, you won't just move forward. You will accelerate into a life that reflects your effort, your focus, and your highest potential. 1 hour. One undeniable result. Every day. Chapter 10. Spend 1 hour making progress. You cannot ignore tomorrow. There is a critical difference between doing something today and doing something today that will still matter tomorrow. Most of what fills your hours disappears overnight. The quick replies, the errands, the small tasks, gone by morning, leaving no imprint on your future. They keep you busy, but don't move you forward. They create the illusion of productivity without the reality of progress. But then, there is a different kind of work. The kind you cannot ignore tomorrow. The kind that forces you to continue. The kind that carries weight. This is the work that shapes your future. When you dedicate one focused hour each day to making progress that tomorrow cannot overlook, you activate a force that most people never harness. Compounding intention. This hour becomes the anchor that pulls you forward into the next day, with clarity instead of confusion. You wake up not wondering where to start, but already in motion. To begin, you must identify what lasting progress means for you. It is not busy work. It is not easy tasks. It is not anything that resets by sunrise. Lasting progress is the kind you feel in your body, your mind, your skills, your ambition, your path. It might be writing a foundational chapter of your book, completing a crucial step in your business plan, solving a problem that has slowed you down for weeks, strengthening the skill that elevates your entire craft. training your body at a level that forces it to adapt, building a system that saves you hours every week. Whatever it is, it must be something that tomorrow cannot erase or ignore. Once you identify your target, the hour must become sacred. This is not an ordinary hour. This is a contract. No distractions, no quick checks, no energy leaks, no mental wandering. Your intention must be sharp enough to pierce through resistance, hesitation, or the temptation to take the easy path. Why? Because this hour is not about finishing something trivial. It is about creating a shift. On a scientific level, deep engagement activates the brain's consolidation processes, which strengthen memory, skill, and long-term learning. The progress literally becomes part of you. On a psychological level, significant progress increases self-efficacy. You begin to trust yourself more deeply because you have evidence, not hope, that you can advance meaningfully. On a spiritual level, this hour sends a signal to the deeper intelligence within you. I am ready to move forward. Creation responds to seriousness. On a cosmic energy level, sustained, meaningful action creates a vibrational imprint. When you build momentum aligned with your highest direction, you synchronize with the opportunities that match that frequency. This is why 1 hour can change the trajectory of your week, your month, and eventually, your life. During the hour, something else begins to happen. Your pace sharpens, your decisions streamline, your doubts quiet down, your focus intensifies, your energy compresses into forward motion. You stop wasting time on what feels productive and start investing time in what is productive. By the time the hour ends, you should be able to point to something and say, "There, that is real. That is progress. That will still matter tomorrow." The next morning is where the magic truly unfolds. You sit down, and the progress you made the day before is waiting for you, alive and ready to be continued, not lost, not forgotten, not reset. This eliminates one of the greatest enemies of progress: the empty start. When you start from zero, hesitation slows you down. When you start in motion, momentum carries you. This kind of momentum compounds in ways most people underestimate. A foundation built 1 hour at a time becomes a structure. A structure becomes a body of work. A body of work becomes mastery. Mastery becomes transformation. This is how lives change, not through massive single efforts, but through daily, deliberate progress that refuses to disappear. It's important to understand. The goal of this hour is not completion. Completion is optional. Proof is mandatory. When you finish the hour, progress must be undeniable. It must be visible. It must carry weight. It must create momentum that demands continuation. This is how you build a future instead of just surviving a day. But to achieve this, you must resist the gravitational pull of easy tasks. They will tempt you because they are simple, fast, comfortable. But comfort does not build tomorrow. Impact does. And impact is created by choosing work that is challenging enough to stretch you, significant enough to matter, and aligned enough to carry your life forward. If you work like this every day, something transformative happens. You stop needing motivation. Your progress becomes your motivation. You stop relying on willpower. Your momentum becomes your willpower. You stop drifting. Your direction becomes clear. Everything starts to accelerate because your days are no longer isolated. They are connected, like stepping stones, leading you toward the life you want. Over time, you build a rhythm, a cadence, a forward pull. This rhythm becomes a habit. The habit becomes identity. Identity becomes destiny. And all of it begins with 1 hour each day. 1 hour building progress that tomorrow cannot ignore. When the hour ends, acknowledge what you've created, because what you acknowledge grows. What you measure increases. What you honor strengthens. Look at the progress and say, "This is my foundation. Tomorrow, I build more." 1 hour, one imprint, one undeniable step toward who you're becoming. Chapter 11. Give 1 hour to the action that changes everything. There is always one action in your life, the right action, that creates more impact than the other 10 things you keep yourself busy with. One decision that shifts your direction. One task that unlocks momentum. One move that moves everything. Most people know exactly what that action is. They can feel it. It sits at the edge of their awareness, like a door they haven't opened. But instead of walking toward it, they orbit around it with small tasks, low-value work, or constant preparation. Why? Because the actions that change everything are rarely comfortable. They require clarity. They require courage. They require presence. And they require a level of responsibility many avoid. This chapter is about giving 1 hour, not to a long list of shallow activity, but to the one action that actually transforms your trajectory. An action powerful enough that if repeated daily, it would collapse the distance between where you are and where you want to be. To begin, you must identify it. Ask yourself with complete honesty, what is the single highest impact action I could take today that would meaningfully change my life if I committed to it consistently? Not the easiest action, not the one that looks productive, not the one others expect of you, the one that moves the needle. You already know the answer. You've known it for a long time. It might be practicing the core skill your future depends on. Creating the product or content that can open doors. Making strategic outreach calls. Writing the pages you have avoided for years. Training your body at the level you've been postponing. Building the system that frees your time and upgrades your work. Fixing a financial pattern that keeps you stuck. Learning the knowledge that changes your earning potential. Every life has a leverage point. Your job is to find yours, and then give it one sacred hour each day. This hour requires everything from you. Your attention, your discipline, your energy, your presence. When you begin, something powerful happens. The distractions that once felt irresistible suddenly shrink. Because the moment you align with high-impact action, your mind recognizes purpose. Purpose is a natural amplifier. It sharpens focus. It elevates your energy. It calls your potential forward. From a scientific perspective, focusing on one meaningful action activates the neural pathways associated with long-term learning and progress. You strengthen the circuits of discipline, clarity, and execution. From a spiritual perspective, giving energy to your highest action creates alignment between who you are and who you are becoming. You dissolve inner resistance because you're no longer split between your potential and your behavior. From a cosmic energy perspective, this hour broadcasts a clear frequency of direction. When your actions match your intention, you resonate with the opportunities aligned to that path. This is why breakthroughs often appear after a period of consistent, focused effort. They are simply the energetic echo of aligned action. During this hour, the goal is not perfection. The goal is impact, progress, a shift. You should finish the hour knowing that life cannot remain the same after what you just did. Not because everything changed instantly, but because you changed. This 1 hour will also expose how much of your day is wasted on the unimportant. You will realize how often you choose the comfortable task instead of the useful one. You will see how easily the urgent replaces the important. But once you experience the power of a high-impact hour, you will lose your tolerance for low-impact living. Something else changes too. Your self-respect increases. You begin to trust yourself again. You begin to believe in your future again. You begin to feel momentum again, because you are no longer delaying the action that matters most. Over time, this single hour becomes the engine of your evolution. It compounds, it builds, it expands. Some days the progress will be small but meaningful. Other days it will feel like a breakthrough. Both matter. Both count. Both accumulate into something extraordinary. This practice also gives you an internal advantage. You start thinking like a builder, not a reactor. You stop waiting for motivation. You become the force that moves your life forward. You develop the identity of someone who takes aligned action, daily. Identity is destiny. Once you become the kind of person who gives an hour to what matters most, your life has no choice but to rise to meet that standard. Because everything expands from the center of your discipline. So, today, ask yourself the only question that truly matters. What is the one action that would change everything if I committed to it daily? Choose it, honor it, protect it, give it 1 hour. And when the hour ends, recognize what you've done. You didn't just complete a task. You shifted your timeline. You altered the direction of your future. You moved closer to the life that once felt distant. 1 hour, 1 action, 1 transformation. Repeated daily. Chapter 12. 1 hour. Turning your chaos into clarity. Every life carries a certain level of chaos. Unfinished plans, scattered thoughts, unresolved decisions, emotional noise, mental clutter, and the constant swirl of, I should do this, but not now. Most people try to outrun this chaos by working harder, moving faster, or distracting themselves endlessly. But chaos cannot be outrun. Chaos must be confronted, and it only takes 1 dedicated hour a day to turn it into clarity. Clarity is not a gift. It is a practice. It is the result of choosing to face what you normally avoid. This chapter is about giving 1 hour to organizing your inner and outer world until your mind becomes sharp enough to guide you instead of confuse you. Because the truth is simple. You cannot build a powerful life on top of mental disorder. You cannot make aligned decisions from a fogged mind. You cannot access your highest potential when your attention is drowning in clutter. Clarity is strength. Clarity is direction. Clarity is power. And clarity is created intentionally. During this hour, your mission is to turn the scattered into the structured, to turn the overwhelming into the manageable, to turn the emotional into the understandable, to turn chaos into something you can hold, see, and work with. This hour can take many forms depending on what your life needs most. Assessing your goals and refining them. Organizing your environment so your energy flows smoothly. Cleaning emotional or mental clutter. Planning your week with precision. Sorting tasks so you stop drowning in everything at once. Clarifying what matters and what doesn't. Making decisions you've postponed. Reducing unnecessary commitments. Creating order where disorder has been running the show. Chaos thrives in avoidance. Clarity thrives in attention. The moment you turn your awareness toward what you've been avoiding, the fog begins to lift. You see what is real. You see what matters. You see what must be done. Psychologically, this hour engages the executive regions of your brain, restoring your ability to prioritize, decide, and direct your life consciously. Emotionally, this hour grounds you, reducing anxiety caused by ambiguity and restoring a sense of control. Spiritually, this hour recenters you, allowing you to align with your purpose instead of scattering your energy across 100 small concerns. Energetically, this hour consolidates your frequency, bringing coherence between your thoughts, intentions, and actions. Clarity is coherence. Coherence is power. During this hour, you will often feel resistance rise, because facing your chaos means facing your truth. It means admitting what you have been delaying. It means acknowledging what is draining you. It means being honest about what you must change. This discomfort is not a signal to stop. It is a signal that you are finally entering the heart of what needs transformation. Your goal is not perfection. Your goal is alignment. One step toward order. One decision made. One mental knot untangled. One unnecessary burden removed. Each small shift creates space. Space creates clarity. Clarity creates momentum. Over time, this daily hour becomes the place where your highest self takes the lead. You begin to think more clearly. You begin to choose more wisely. You begin to act with intention instead of reaction. You begin to see the path ahead instead of stumbling through confusion. And something else happens. You become lighter. The weight you've been carrying, mental, emotional, energetic, begins to dissolve because you are no longer ignoring it. You are directing it. You are shaping it. Clarity is not passive. It is created, 1 hour at a time. And as clarity grows, your confidence grows alongside it. Because confidence is not built from pretending you have everything under control. It is built from actually creating control, 1 step at a time. This hour becomes the most grounding hour of your day. It steadies you. It focuses you. It recalibrates your mind and your energy. It turns chaos into something you can work with, rather than something that controls you. Eventually, you will notice that your chaos shrinks, your clarity expands, your direction sharpens, your decisions strengthen, your life moves differently. Because a clear mind does not hesitate. A clear mind does not fear. A clear mind creates. And when you create your clarity every day, you step into a version of yourself who cannot be overwhelmed, because you have trained yourself to transform overwhelm into structure, noise into direction, uncertainty into purpose. So today, take 1 hour. Face the chaos. Sort it. Name it. Organize it. Release what no longer belongs. Strengthen what does. Bring your mind back into order. Because clarity is not a luxury. It is the foundation of power. And 1 hour is enough to reclaim it. Chapter 13. 1 hour breaking one limitation that has followed you for years. Every person carries at least one silent limitation, a belief, a pattern, a fear, a behavior that has been shaping their life far more than they realize. It's the invisible boundary that stops you right before things get good. The ceiling you hit every time you try to grow. The internal voice that says, "Not yet, not you," or "You can't." These limitations do not scream. They whisper. They blend into your identity so quietly that you start believing they are part of who you are. But they are not you. They are patterns. They are programming. They are learned. And if something is learned, it can be unlearned. This chapter is about giving 1 hour, just 1 hour a day, to breaking one limitation that has followed you for years. The limitation you pretend not to see, but feel every time you get close to your next level. Maybe your limitation is fear. Maybe it's perfectionism. Maybe it's self-doubt. Maybe it's procrastination. Maybe it's the belief that you are not enough. Maybe it's the habit of choosing what's safe instead of what's right. Maybe it's the emotional pattern that pulls you backward every time you step forward. Whatever it is, you know it. You've felt it. It has shaped your decisions. It has shaped your outcomes. It has shaped your story. But it does not have to shape your future. During this 1 hour, your goal is not to fix your entire life. Your goal is to choose one limitation and begin breaking it from the inside. 1 hour of deliberate confrontation with a limitation can dismantle years of unconscious agreement with it. To do this effectively, your hour must follow a clear process. 1. Identify the limitation. Name it. Write it down. Clarity removes its power to hide. 2. Understand how it shows up. What triggers it? When does it appear? How does it influence your actions? 3. Look at the cost. What opportunities has it stolen? What goals has it delayed? What versions of you has it prevented from emerging? 4. Choose a tool to break it. This hour can be reframing thoughts tied to the limitation, practicing the skill the limitation prevents, taking action you normally avoid, training your mind through visualization, learning new behaviors that override old patterns, challenging the belief with evidence, embodying the version of yourself who is free from it. This is not psychological theory. It is neurological rewiring. Your brain has been reinforcing this limitation for years through repetition. Every time you avoided the action, every time you fell into the pattern, every time you believed the doubt, the neural pathway grew stronger. But neural pathways are not permanent. They are moldable, plastic, changeable. When you give 1 hour to breaking a limitation, you are weakening the old circuitry and building new ones. This is neuroplasticity in motion. Spiritually, this hour is even more powerful. You are separating your identity from the limitation. You are declaring, "This is not who I am. This is what I learned, and I release it." Energetically, you are freeing trapped momentum. Limitations are energy blocks. Breaking them unleashes movement where there was stagnation. When you do this work, expect resistance. Your mind will try to protect the pattern because it feels familiar. It will whisper excuses. It will try to convince you that the limitation is still true. That resistance is not a stop sign. It is proof you are hitting the root. Stay with it. Over time, you begin to notice something extraordinary. The limitation loses its form. Its voice becomes weaker. Its influence becomes smaller. You start responding differently to situations that once triggered you. You start making choices from strength rather than fear. You start seeing yourself as capable, not constrained. You start acting like someone who has options, not someone who is held back. This is identity rewiring, because your identity is not your limitation. Your identity is the person who chooses to break it. Imagine giving this hour consistently for a month. 30 days of confronting the belief, pattern, or behavior that has held you back for years. 30 days of reclaiming your power from something that once controlled you. What would change? What would open? Who would you become? Your future is not shaped by avoiding your limitations. It is shaped by breaking them. One limitation at a time. 1 hour at a time. One transformation at a time. This is deep work. It is courageous work. And it is the work that separates those who repeat their past from those who rewrite their future. So today, choose your limitation. Bring it into the light. Face it for 1 hour. Break a piece of it, and tomorrow, break another. Because the life you want cannot coexist with the limitation you've been living under. One of them must go, and today, it won't be you. Chapter 14. 1 hour raising your standard of who you are. There comes a moment in every life when you realize that the gap between where you are and where you want to be is not made of luck, talent, or opportunity. It's made of standards. Your standard is the invisible line that defines what you accept from yourself, how you think, how you act, how you speak, how you show up, how you live. Most people don't fail because they aim too high. They fail because they are willing to accept too little. A low standard keeps you repeating the same patterns. A high standard forces your life to rise. This chapter is about giving 1 powerful hour each day to raising your standard. Not in theory, not in dreams, not in the abstract, but in your behavior, your effort, your discipline, and your identity. Because you cannot build an exceptional life with ordinary standards. Your standard is your identity in action. A standard is not a wish. It is not a preference. It is a rule, a personal law. If your standard is, I do work only when I feel motivated, then your life will reflect inconsistency. If your standard is, I do what I said I would do, regardless of mood, your life will reflect reliability, respect, and power. Raising your standard is raising your identity. And identity is destiny. During this hour, you are not working on a task. You are working on yourself. The first step. Identify the standard you need to break. Every person has at least one standard that has been keeping them small. Accepting low effort, accepting distraction, accepting emotional reactions, accepting procrastination, accepting comfort over growth, accepting habits that do not match your goals, accepting environments that drain your potential, accepting relationships that lower your energy, accepting a version of yourself you should have outgrown. Your hour begins by identifying the standard that is hurting you the most. Ask yourself, what behavior of mine is too low for where I'm trying to go? The moment you ask this with honesty, you will know the answer immediately, because it's the thing you've been justifying for years. The second step. Define the higher standard. A higher standard is not complicated. It is simple, clear, non-negotiable. Example, old standard. I work hard when I feel like it. New standard. I produce excellence even when I don't feel like it. Old standard. I allow distraction because I'm used to it. New standard. When I work, I am unreachable. Old standard. I accept relationships that drain me. New standard. I protect my energy like it's my life force. You must define your new standard with precision. Vague standards do not transform identity. The third step. Practice the new standard for 1 hour. This hour is the training ground, a laboratory for your evolution. You are teaching your mind, your emotions, your body, and your energy. This is who I am now. During this hour, you act at the level of the standard you want to live at. You behave as the person you are becoming. You work with the intensity, discipline, and presence that your future requires. From a scientific perspective, this hour is rewiring your brain's self-concept. Your neural pathways shift to match your new identity. From a spiritual perspective, raising your standard elevates your frequency. You align with a higher timeline. From a cosmic energy perspective, your field stabilizes at a higher level of expectation, and the world responds to that expectation. Standards shape energy. Energy shapes outcomes. Outcomes shape life. The fourth step. Eliminate what no longer matches the new standard. This is where change becomes real. A high standard demands subtraction. Remove the habits that violate your future. Remove the distractions that pull you low. Remove the behaviors that weaken your self-respect. Remove the excuses that keep you comfortable. Remove the identities that no longer match your potential. You cannot raise your life while keeping the patterns that lowered it. One of them must go, and it will not be you. The fifth step: reinforce identity through action. Self-respect grows when your actions match your standards. This hour becomes the proof. Every minute spent living at a higher standard is a message to your subconscious. I am not who I was. I am who I choose to be. This is how discipline becomes natural. This is how confidence becomes stable. This is how growth becomes inevitable. You build momentum not by dreaming bigger, but by expecting more from yourself in the smallest moments, because your external life will never rise higher than your internal standard. Raising your standard is raising your destiny. When you do this every day, something extraordinary happens. Your tolerance for mediocrity evaporates. Your alignment strengthens. Your awareness sharpens. Your ambition rises. Your discipline deepens. Your identity expands. You are no longer pulled down by who you used to be. You are pulled forward by who you're becoming. You stop hoping life improves. You require it to. You stop asking for permission. You decide. You stop negotiating with your old self. You outgrow it. And slowly, then suddenly, your life rises to match your standard. 1 hour at a time. One identity shift at a time. One higher expectation at a time. Because destiny is not created by potential. Destiny is created by standards. Raise yours, and everything in your life will rise with it. Chapter 15. 1 hour, expanding your capacity to do hard things. There is a simple truth that separates people who grow from people who stay the same. Life does not get easier. You get stronger. But strength, real inner capacity, is not built in comfort. It is built in challenge, in discomfort, in stretching yourself beyond what feels familiar. The people who rise in life are not the ones born with the most talent or the best circumstances. They are the ones who trained themselves to handle more pressure, more responsibility, more complexity, more discomfort, more opportunity. Capacity is not a gift. It is trained. This chapter is about giving 1 hour each day to expanding your capacity to do hard things. Not in theory, not in imagination, but through lived experience, through deliberate practice, through conscious self-expansion. Because when you raise your capacity, everything in your life expands with it. You don't need an easier life. You need a stronger you. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid difficulty. They avoid the difficult conversation. They avoid the difficult project. They avoid the difficult decision. They avoid the difficult emotion. They avoid the difficult discipline. And because they avoid hard things, their life remains small. Avoidance does not protect you. Avoidance shrinks you. Every time you choose discomfort, intentionally, consciously, you grow. Your tolerance rises. Your resilience strengthens. Your mind expands. Your emotional capacity deepens. Your identity evolves. From a scientific perspective, doing hard things creates stress adaptation. Your nervous system becomes stronger, calmer, more capable. From a spiritual perspective, doing hard things clears stagnant energy and activates dormant potential within you. From a cosmic perspective, the moment you move toward your challenges, the universe reorganizes to meet your new level of strength. Hard things are portals. Do them, and you rise. Avoid them, and you stay the same. How this 1 hour works. You choose one hard thing, just one. And for an hour, you face it with full presence. This can be a task that overwhelms you, a project that intimidates you, a skill that stretches you, a workout that challenges your limits, a responsibility you've been avoiding, a conversation you fear, a decision you've postponed, a truth you've refused to acknowledge. The difficulty is not the problem. Your avoidance of it is. When you spend 1 hour facing difficulty, several things happen. 1. Your brain adapts. Neural circuits associated with stress, discipline, and resilience strengthen. 2. Your emotional threshold rises. What used to feel overwhelming begins to feel manageable. 3. Your inner dialogue changes. You stop saying, "I can't," and begin saying, "I can handle this." 4. Your fear shrinks, because fear cannot survive repeated exposure to action. 5. Your belief expands. You realize you are capable of far more than you once imagined. Every minute spent inside this hour is a message to your subconscious. I am not fragile. I am powerful. I can do hard things. Identity shifts first in whispers, then in habits, then in your reality. Why difficulty is the fastest path to growth. Comfort preserves who you are. Difficulty reveals who you can become. Growth does not come from repeating what you already know how to do. It comes from reaching into the unknown. In that place, your mind is stretched. Your energy is activated. Your spirit is awakened. Your potential is triggered. This is where breakthroughs live. This is where transformation begins. This is where the next version of you takes shape. But you will not reach this place by accident. You reach it by intention. The science of expanding capacity. Your brain has a natural tendency to choose the path of least resistance. It conserves energy. It avoids strain. It rejects uncertainty. But your brain also has another ability. Neuroplasticity. The ability to rewire itself through experience. When you intentionally choose difficulty for 1 hour, your prefrontal cortex strengthens. Your emotional regulation improves. Your stress tolerance expands. Your cognitive endurance increases. Your mental stamina grows. You are literally altering your biology to match your future. The spiritual energy of hard things. Energetically, doing hard things signals elevation. When you stretch beyond your comfort zone, your vibration rises, your confidence expands, your presence strengthens, your consciousness widens, your alignment deepens. Challenges refine your energy. They remove weakness. They burn away fear. They activate courage. They initiate growth. They turn you into someone life cannot break. Capacity is identity. The greater your capacity, the bigger the life you can hold. A small identity cannot hold a big destiny. You must expand who you are to receive what you desire. Your goals require a version of you with greater resilience, greater discipline, greater range, greater courage, greater emotional mastery, greater mental endurance. And you build that version 1 hour at a time. The transformation happens quietly, then loudly. At first, the change is subtle. You feel slightly more capable, slightly more confident, slightly more grounded. Then one day, something unexpected happens. A challenge that used to break you no longer rattles you. A task that once terrified you now feels natural. A responsibility that once overwhelmed you becomes part of your rhythm. A dream that once felt impossible now feels inevitable. That is the moment you realize you did not need an easier life. You needed a stronger you, and you built that strength, deliberately, relentlessly, 1 hour at a time. So today, choose your hard thing. Enter the discomfort. Stay with it. Grow through it. Let it stretch you. Let it shape you. Because everything you want is on the other side of the version of you who can do hard things. And that version is built hour by hour, choice by choice, challenge by challenge. You expand your capacity, and your life expands with it. Your life will not transform because of one massive moment. It will transform because of one repeated hour, the hour you choose to live with intention instead of habit. A single focused hour each day becomes the place where your identity shifts, your discipline grows, and your future begins to reshape itself. Not because of time alone, but because of the energy, presence, and commitment you pour into that hour. 1 hour facing what you avoid, 1 hour finishing what you delay, 1 hour working like your future depends on it, 1 hour building results you can feel, 1 hour raising your standards, breaking your limits, and expanding your capacity. This is where transformation lives. Scientifically, these hours rewire your brain, strengthening focus, discipline, and emotional control. Spiritually, they align you with your higher self. Energetically, they broadcast a new frequency that life responds to. Each hour becomes proof that you are no longer living by old patterns. You are creating a new version of yourself, deliberately. You don't need more time. You need more intention. Your next level is not waiting in some distant future. It is being built quietly, repeatedly, in the hour you refuse to waste. The hour where you choose progress over distraction, purpose over comfort, courage over avoidance. Protect that hour. Honor that hour. Because the person you become inside it is the person who changes your life outside it. You do not need to transform everything today. You only need to transform 1 hour. Do that consistently, and your future becomes inevitable. 1 hour, every day. That is how you become unstoppable. Thank you for listening with an open mind and heart. If a certain chapter or insight resonated most with you, share it in the comments. You might help someone else find exactly what they need today. Keep this book saved so you can return to its words whenever life calls for reflection or guidance. I wish you health, peace, and wisdom in every step you take.